Out here in Willow Creek, where the internet signal flickers like a candle in a storm, you learn to expect a few things. Late feed deliveries, spotty cell service VYC, and nosy neighbors from the HOA poking into your business. I gotten used to most of it, running my small farm with its creaky barn and stubborn goats. But what I couldn't stomach was my Wi-Fi choking every morning when I tried to sync irrigation logs or negotiate with my tractor guy over Zoom. At first, I blamed the oak trees blocking the signal or maybe the barn's thick walls. Then one day, my tablet showed 6 VYCS connected to my network when I only owned 4. That's when I met my real problem. Linda Harper, the HOA queen who thought my Wi-Fi was her personal streaming service VYC. It started with a hiccup in my MOVY stream one night, then a lag in my security cameras. Rural life sharpens your senses. You notice when the water pump hums too long or the generator flickers. So when my invoices wouldn't upload, I damn well noticed. Logging into my router, I found a VYC labeled L's iPad, followed by Guest Phone 22 and a smart TV that sure as hell wasn't mine. I stepped onto my porch, coffee in hand, and there she was across the road, Linda in her floppy sun hat and yoga pants, iPad propped on a patio chair, sipping a green smoothie while streaming some show. On my signal, I changed the Wi-Fi password, thinking that'd settle it. By noon, Linda was stomping up my driveway, silk robe flapping. No knock, just a screech that could have rattled the hen house. "Why's my connectee VY tie gone dark?" she demanded, like I'd cut her lifeline. I played dumb, but she ranted about shared airwaves and how the HOA allowed community resources in emergencies. I told her my farm wasn't her commune. She flinched, then pointed at my weather antenna, claiming it was GIVY-ing her migraines. That night, I installed a network monitor and watched her to VYCS creep back onto my signal like roaches in a dark kitchen. It got worse. One Monday, my backup security system failed to upload footage after a fox spooked the chickens. The upload tanked because Linda's VYCES were hogging my bandwidth at 2 a.m. Was she streaming yoga or teaching her smart fridge to sing? I called the HOA to complain, but the receptionist just chuckled and said I needed to VYC logs and to resolve it privately, as if I hadn't tried. The next day, Linda shouted across the field with a megaphone, accusing me of digital hoarding. I turned to my goats, the only witnesses who wouldn't lie, and set up a camera where the signal was strongest. Sure enough, Linda wandered onto my property every morning, coffee mug in one hand, tablet in the other, pacing like she was hunting bars on a phone. One afternoon, she parked a folding chair and giggled at her screen for an hour while my goats glared. That was it. No more polite password changes. I renamed my Wi-Fi BuyYourOwnInternet. Her VYCS vanished, one by one, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Then came a call. Linda, voice quivering, said she felt personally attacked. I told her the goats felt the same and hung up. My internet ran smoother than ever, but I knew Linda wouldn't quit. Entitled folks don't back down, they escalate. The next morning, Linda was pacing my fence line with 2 HOA cronies, pointing at my house like they were plotting a siege. They didn't step onto my land, but Linda waved a formal HOA notice like a war flag, yelling about internet discrimination. By noon, the notice was taped to my mailbox, claiming I had to share my signal because it overlapped HOA airspace. I nearly choked laughing. A few days later, I reset my router and found the admin password changed, remote access enabled. My stomach dropped. Someone Linda had tampered with it. I reset everything, added a firewall, and got a ping from Linda Guest within hours. That night, a trail cam caught a flashlight flicker near my utility pole. The next day, my signal was weaker. I climbed up and found a battery-powered signal booster zip-tied to the pole. I tossed it in the trash. This wasn't about convenience, Anna Maria, it was about control. I got proactive, installing a signal tracker and data logger. Everett of VYC left a fingerprint now. A week later, Linda's son, Ethan, strolled up, all casual, asking if my Wi-Fi was still out. He let slip they hadn't paid their internet bill, and my signal was better anyway. I laughed and walked away. The HOA newsletter soon featured Linda's sermon on digital neighborliness, with a diagram of overlapping Wi-Fi zones and a sob story about a kind neighbor bridging the digital divide. I nearly tore it up. It was time to fight back. I compiled logs, screenshots, and trail cam footage, cross-referencing timestamps with Linda's loitering. I included photos of the booster and mailed it all to the HOA board. They brushed me off, saying internal matters needed community spirit. Linda ran the bake sales and welcome baskets. She was untouchable. So I built a trap, a decoy network called Free Creek Wi-Fi, no password, routed through a proxy server vying goat vy deos, tractor ads, and a page that read, "Congratulations, you're on a decoy network. Stop stealing, Linda." Her shriek echoed across the field. She stormed her porch, iPad while vying like it was on fire, then vanished indoors. The HOA Facebook group lit up with her rants about cyberbullying. She mailed screenshots of the decoy page to everyone, claiming her kids were traumatized by goat vy deos and her fridge was mooing. I grinned at that. The HOA demanded I stop malicious network active vy ties. I sent legal proof that an unsecured decoy on my land wasn't harassment, plus a cease and desist for her unauthorized access, CC, to the board. Linda retaliated with a surprise HOA inspection, claiming my barn's paint and satellite dish vy OLAT code. I handed her a county survey pro vying my farm wasn't HOA turf. She left fuming. Neighbors started whispering Linda had measured one guy's grass with a ruler, reported another for feeding ducks. I upped the decoy's chaos, cycling messages like "Stop mooching, Linda," and disconnecting her to VYSS every 10 minutes. One night, I saw her outside in her robe, yelling at Ethan as they fumbled with a laptop. I watched from the barn, feeling like a fox who'd outsmarted a trap. Then Linda went nuclear, hiring a lawyer to claim emotional distress and digital defamation. Her vy denke, goat vy deo screenshots, and a fridge that wouldn't obey her. My IT lawyer friend, Mike, laughed and drafted a response citing her illegal access, with logs and laws to back it up. We suggested she check her unpaid internet bill. The lawyer went silent. The HOA held an emergency meeting and Linda's photo vanished from their newsletter. She stayed indoors, her porch dark, but I kept the decoy running. People like Linda don't quit a scheme. A month later, an HOA email hinted at a policy encouraging tech cooperation. Linda's fingerprints were all over it. I dug out their bylaws, finding a clause she'd written stating private utilities were untouchable. Checkmate. I called in Mike, who mapped 9 to VYCES from Linda's property, hitting my network, some with her last name. We set up a fake login portal to log her attempts. Her thermostat, doorbell, and Linda Tablet X kept trying. I mailed the vy denke to the HOA's legal team and hand-delivered a copy to Linda's husband, Greg. He looked like a man drowning in her chaos, taking the envelope without a word. The HOA confirmed an investigation, but urged silence. Linda's newsletter rant stopped. Then Greg showed up with wine, banana bread, and a note, "Sorry for the noise." A printed cease and desist followed, plain and honest. I thought it was over. But Linda called a community gathering, setting up a table in the park with a digital justice manifesto. She rambled about being silenced and isolated, painting herself as a tech martyr. The crowd was silent. A board member shut her down, citing park rules. She left, defeated, shouting about CIVYL liberties. The sheriff called next. The booster had skimmed multiple networks, not just mine. Other neighbors filed complaints, and the case went county level. Linda's social media went dark. Greg was spotted alone, head low. Life felt normal again. Goats happy, barn quiet. I added solar panels and kept my cameras on. A new HOA president, Tom, VY cited, proposing tech violation rules and focusing on roads, not drama. He said, "Fences aren't just woo theory, digital too." Linda's house went dark, the silence earned. One morning, a thin cable by my fence led to another booster, slicker than the last. I locked it away and called the sheriff. Greg admitted Linda's obsession, studying router hacks online. I locked down everything: new router, infrared cams, alerts. The HOA newsletter announced Linda's resignation for health reasons. Neighbors thanked me. Some had tech issues too. Then Greg said they were MOVYing. Linda left a note. You were right to protect your boundaries. No signature, just truth. Their truck left quietly, and I renamed my Wi-Fi not for Linda. At a cookout, someone asked about my signal. Never stronger, I said, raising my glass. The fire crackled, the goats slept, and the signal was mine. Peace isn't quiet, it's holding the line until the noise stops.